Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let's begin chanting one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki Jai Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's begin with reciting Bhagavad Gita Sloka. We are reciting Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 2. Does anyone need to go first? Okay, Achit, Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Name viduho suraganaha prabhavam nama harshayaha aham adirhi devanam maharishinam sarvashaha. Neither the hosts of demigod nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and sages.
Anyone else need to go first? Okay, we'll begin with Achitpriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Chakaram Raja, glories to the assembly devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidu suragana prabhavam namahashaya aham hadire devanam maharshinam cha sarvashaha. Translation Prabhupada can be Prabhupada. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Achintadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Name viduhu suraganaha
Name vidu suraganaha
prabhavam na maharshayaha
prabhavam na maharshaya
aham adirhi devanam
aham adirhi devanam
maharshinam cha sarvashaha.
maharshinam sacha sarva saha
Cha sarvashaha.
maharshinam cha sarvasaha.
Yes, thank you.
Translation. And neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita.
Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidu suragana prabhava harshaya aham adirhi deva nam maharsinam cha sarvashaha. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Arunita.
Name vidu suragana prabhava nam harshaya aham adirhi deva nam maharsinam cha sarvashaha. Translation. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages.
Yes. Inba, you are here? No. Krishna Ashish.
Name vidu suragana prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvasaha. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages.
Kalpesh Prabhu and Sonia Mataji. Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Name Viduhu Suragana, Prabhavam Namaharshaya, Aham Adirhi Devanam, Maharshinam Cha Sarvasaha. Translation. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of demigods and sages. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Kalpesh Prabhu is there? No? He'll join later.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
Mataji.
Lokesh. Not ready? Oh, you're there.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidu suragana prabhavam namaharsayah aham adirhi devana maharshinam cha sarvasaha. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Krishna Prabhupada Guru Maharaj.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidushura ganaha Gana.
Ganaha, correct.
Gana. Prabhavam na Maharashyaha. Maharshya aham adi he devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
English is not ready.
Okay. Next is Medha and Usha Mataji are not here. So, Narsimha Leela Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Sangha Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidhu suragana prabhavam nama harshayah aham adir he devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulence, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Others are not there.
Okay. Saujanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Rest of the assembled devotees. Name vidhu suragana prabhavam na mahashraya aham adir hi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashaha. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else? Achyut Priya Mataji, raise your hand.
Yes, Mataji, I have a question. Great sages are already there, then hosts of demigods, I didn't understand.
All the demigods, hosts of demigods. What was your question? Sorry, I didn't get it.
No, who are the hosts of demigods, Mataji?
All the demigods. Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, everyone.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Saujanya Mataji.
Pragna is available, Mataji.
Oh, good. Go ahead, Pragna.
Namevitu Surakana Prabhavam na Maharshaya Ahamatir Hi Devanam Maharsinam Cha Sarvasa. Translation. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I'll also recite and then I explained it on the first day when we recited this verse, but I'll tell again. Bhagavad Gita 10:2. Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. So everyone, all the demigods, even Lord Brahma, up to everyone, whoever is there, nobody can know the origin of Krishna, and also they cannot know the opulences of Krishna. What is the reason? Because he is the origin. They were not there when he was there. They were born after. Therefore, nobody knows me. I told you, remember, like, can I know about the birth of my mother? Is there any way that I can know? I can know if my mother tells me. So here Krishna is speaking for himself. So the only way we can understand anything about our mother or father, about their birth and what they did in their childhood, which school they went to, all these things we can only know when they themselves tell us or someone before them told us. Like our grandparents will tell, all our uncles or aunties will tell us, or Our parents themselves tell us. Otherwise, is there any way for us to know? No. So Krishna is saying, I am the source of all the demigods and sages. I was there even before them. I am the source. They come from me. So how they will know about my origin and my opulences? They cannot know. They will know when I tell. So nobody knows. That's what Krishna said. Nilambari Mataji, would you like to recite the verse?
I now remember Mataji.
Remember.
To say thank you, Hare Krishna.
Sure. Mataji, Nilambari Mataji, will recite the verse? Or you're busy with the deity worship? Either way. I just
Yes,
want
Mataji. I'll recite.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidhushuragana prabhavam na maharshaya aham adhirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashaha. Translation?
Yeah.
One second. Translation. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin. I lost it. Okay. Know my origin or opulence, for in every respects I am the source of the demigods and sages. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Lokesh?
Name vidhushuragana prabhavam na maharshaya ajay devanam maharsinam cha sarvasam. Neither the host of the demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of demigods and sages. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So since Mataji asked this question, I will just elaborate a little bit on what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that the Lord said nobody can know about my origin and opulences. Opulences means his Aishwarya Jnanam. So there is Madhurya Jnanam and there is Aishwarya Jnanam. Madhurya Jnanam means Krishna's sweet leelas, pastimes. That is Madhurya Jnanam. That is relished, that is actually relished by devotees in higher stages of bhakti. Of course, even in initial stages, and what to speak of initial stages of bhakti, even karmis also will find the pastimes of Krishna to be very sweet. But this Aishwarya Jnanam is especially meant for the sadhakas, the devotees in a in servitorship, right? So even that Aishwarya Jnanam cannot be understood. Just for example, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about his Aishwarya, right? So many people are reading Bhagavad Gita. Even the Jnanis are reading Bhagavad Gita. Karmis are also reading Bhagavad Gita. How many of them are actually understanding? How many of them are actually able to know the Aishwaryam of the Supreme Lord? Because the result of knowing his Aishwaryam will be what? You will become pure devotees. You will be doing pure devotional service. But in spite of studying, hearing Bhagavad Gita, studying Bhagavad Gita, someone wants to get a PhD after studying Bhagavad Gita. That's all. And he'll be a scholar of Bhagavad Gita. Or somebody else by studying Bhagavad Gita will learn how to do different karma kandiya yagyas and this and that, and he can go to Swarga. Someone else is reading Bhagavad Gita to get liberation, moksha. Everyone is reading Bhagavad Gita, but who is actually understanding the opulence of the Supreme Lord? So what is the qualification to understand the opulence of the Supreme Lord? If you become a great rishi, great sage, can you know the opulence of the Supreme Lord? Or by doing lot of pious activities, punya karma, right, giving charity and doing vratas and tapasyas, if you become a demigod, can you know the Supreme Lord by that? No. Therefore, not even great sages, not even demigods can know the Supreme Lord. Then how one can know the Supreme Lord? One can know the Supreme Lord when the Lord gives his mercy. How does the Lord give his mercy? Does he give directly? Oh, I choose this particular person, I want to give my mercy to this person. No. The Lord gives his mercy through his devotees. He sends his devotees and he gives us the Shastra. He leaves Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam behind. That is the Lord's mercy. So we get the mercy of the Lord through the association of the Lord's devotees who will tell us about the Lord's Aishwarya Jnanam. So when we receive the Lord's mercy, when we come in touch with the pure devotee, by his mercy only, we will understand about the Aishwarya Jnanam. But simply becoming a demigod or becoming a great sage is not the qualification to know about the opulence of the Supreme Lord. And even today in bhakti, whatever little that we are able to do, that is also because of the mercy of the Supreme Lord coming through the Guru Parampara. How do we know that we should follow the 4 regulative principles? We should chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. We should come together and associate with devotees, hear about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. How do we know? Because it is told by our gurus coming in the disciplic succession. That's how we know. So the instructions coming through the disciplic succession is nothing but the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Only when one receives the mercy of the Supreme Lord can he know about the Aishwarya Jnanam. So we will discuss little every day. We cannot discuss the whole, then that will be the whole class. We want to do Bhagavatam also. So, all right. So since Jai Ganesh Prabhu, Inya and Bar here, you can also recite the verse. It is still on the screen. Go ahead. Jai Ganesh Prabhu, Inba Inya, Jai Shri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Name vidu suragana prabhavam namah shayah aham adarhi devanam mahashinam cha sarvashah. Translation. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages were my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages.
Yes, Inya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Name vidu suragana prabhavam namaharshayah aham adarhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages.
Yes. Mataji, Prabhuji are there?
Mataji is not here, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Oh, she's here, Mataji.
Go ahead. Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidu suragana prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha shinam cha sarvashah. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and sages. Thank you.
Thank you. Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Name vidu suragana prabhavam namarshayam kamadihi devanam maharishi sarvashah. Translation almost. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of demigods and sages. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyone else? I think everyone has recited. Let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 1. Sorry, we completed Chapter 1. So we are in Chapter 2. So what were we reading? We are reading about the descendants of Vaivasvata Manu. Aditi Lata Mataji?
Mataji, it's my turn to read today.
Yes, I remember. Okay. So we were reading that, we are reading about the descendants of Vaivasvata Manu. So there we read Vaivasvata Manu had a daughter named Ila, and she was transformed into a male Sudyumna. And this Sudyumna, once when he went hunting in the forest of Sukumara, he turned into a woman, And then this Sudyumna married the son of the moon god called Buddha, and they had a son called Pururava. Then we stopped at that. And this Sudyumna started thinking of his guru Vashishta Muni. When he was in his family as King Sudyumna, he had, right from his birth, his guru was Vashishta Muni. So he started remembering his guru. And Vashishta Muni felt very sad for Sudyumna's condition. Being a great king, now he became a woman. So then Vashishta Muni prayed to Lord Shiva and to please relieve Sudyumna from this deplorable condition. So then Lord Shiva wanted to please Vashishta Muni. Vashishta Muni is a great sage, Brahmarshi. He wanted to please Vashishta Muni, but at the same time, because he gave his word to Parvati, he wanted to keep that also. What was the word that he gave to Parvati? That anyone who enters this forest of Sukumara, any male who enters this forest of Sukumara, will immediately become a female. So, in order to keep that, the word he gave to Parvati, as well as to please Vashishta Muni, Lord Shiva said, for 1 month, this Sudyumna will be a male, and then for 1 month, alternating months, 1 month he will be a male, 1 month he'll become a woman, 1 month again he'll become a man, 1 month he'll become a woman. In this way, he will be able to rule the kingdom. And in this way, Sudyumna was ruling the kingdom. And we also heard that he had 3 sons. So I'm thinking those 3 sons, when we say he had 3 sons, then that means as a male, right? He had 3 sons. So then Sudyumna, when he was, it was time for him to renounce the kingdom, he took Vanaprastha. So before taking Vanaprastha, he has to appoint his the next king. So he gave the kingdom to Pururava, the son of moon, the grandson of moon god, right? His son Pururava. One more thing is, when Sudyumna was ruling like this, like a man and a woman, alternate months, the citizens were not happy. The citizens were not happy because whenever he was a woman, he was not able to carry out the duties of the king. So they were not so happy with that. Anyway, he ruled and then he retired and he gave the kingdom to Pururava. With that, we ended the first chapter and then we started the second chapter. So now we are talking about another. This Vivaswan's son, Shraddha Deva, Vaivasvata Manu. After, so his son, it was Vaivasvata Manu's son. This Sudyumna was Vaivasvata Manu's son, and he took Vanaprastha. And then, so now Vivaswan performed tapasya for 100 years on the banks of the river Yamuna, praying to the Supreme Lord to bless him with qualified sons. And as a result, he got 10 sons, headed by the eldest was Ikshvaku. And of these 10 sons, one was Trishadra. So anyway, let me just clarify some points, some questions that were raised yesterday. So why is it that Sudyumna is retiring and going and not Vaivasvata Manu? Why he's not retiring? Okay, Manu, who is Manu? He is the ruler for one full Manvantara. What is one Manvantara? One Manvantara is the time period. So you will have 14 Manvantaras in one day of Brahma. There is a change of government in every Manvantara. Just like in the US, you have a change of government every 5 years? Or is it 4? 5 years. In India, you have a change of government every 5 years.
Four Mataji, but then it can also repeat for another 4 years. And then
4, yes. So in the US, the government changes every 4 years. So for the universe, for the whole universe, the government changes every manvantara. So how long? So this manvantara is a time period. How long is a manvantara? It is approximately 71 yuga cycles. One cycle has Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Like this 71 cycles forms one manvantara. So this Manu, there are 14 such manvantaras in one day of Brahma. This Manu has to rule for the entire manvantara. How can he retire? That is why I was saying yesterday that his rule is for the whole universe and it is for one full manvantara. So Vaivasvata Manu's position is different. Of course, he begot, just like Brahmaji. Brahmaji begot, where are we all coming from? We are all descending from Brahmaji. But is our life the same as Brahmaji's? No. The demigods are also coming from Brahmaji in succession. They are the sons of Kashyapa Muni. So there are different planets, isn't it? There is, now we are Bhuloka, then above this is Bhuvarloka, then Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. So as you go higher, their lifespan is also different. Of course, it is their 100 years, but their 100 years and our 100 years is not the same. So similarly, Manu is for one, he is the ruler for the entire Manvantara, and for one full Manvantara, he will rule. So he cannot retire. But his son, right, Sudyumna, was given this, given the rulership, and then he has to retire, right? He is on a different platform. He has to retire at a certain time. So again, the lifespan is also different from, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. In Satya Yuga they live for 100,000 years, and Treta Yuga they live for 10,000 years, in Dwapar Yuga for 1,000 years, and Kali Yuga for 100 years. But after 50 years you're supposed to retire. That means after half of your life is passed, then you have to retire, like that. So I hope that point is clear. I think Saujanya Mataji asked me yesterday why Sudyumna retired, but the father is now begetting sons.
I asked.
You asked.
Aditya.
Yeah, so is that clear, Aditi Lata Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Sure. And there was another question, I forget. If you remember your question from yesterday, just ask me. Yes, Prabhuji. But demigods. One second, Prabhuji. Demigods. So you asked, so the demigods will live for the whole Kalpa? No. The demigods also live for one manvantara, because when there is a change of government, right? So you have one full, of course there may be some exceptions like the rishis, the sapta rishis, right? Some of them are trikalagyas and they live for a very long time. But in general, manvantara is their calculation. They live for one manvantara, and after that manvantara, just like we saw Chakshisha manvantara, remember Satyavrata Maharaj was the king in Chakshisha manvantara. And then he gave up that body, and in the next manvantara he took another body as Shraddhadev, and he is the Manu. Now he will live for this whole manvantara, like that. Achintadev Prabhu.
Mataji, in that case, total annihilation is 71 into 14 yuga cycles, right?
That's not even that is not total annihilation. 71 into 14 is 1 day of Brahma, 12 hours of Brahma. That is, yes, that is called partial annihilation. Partial annihilation means from bottom of the universe up to Swargaloka, everything is inundated. First, everything is burnt up, and then it is inundated, flooded. So nothing, no life there. And above that, also the heat from the lower planets, it goes higher to Maharloka, so they can feel the heat, although they are not burnt or inundated. So they all move to higher and higher planets. They go to Brahmaji's abode. So from Maharloka and up, they are still retained, even after the 14 Manvantaras.
So
But nevertheless, yeah, they all enter into Brahmaji and they just sleep.
So total annihilation will be when?
100 years of Brahmaji.
100 years of Brahmaji. Okay.
Here, this is 1 day of Brahmaji. After each day of Brahmaji, it's happening like this. And after each day he will sleep. So there is annihilation, partial annihilation, and he will sleep, and he will sleep for another 12 hours. So this whole time period, 14 manvantaras, is 12 hours, the daytime of Brahmaji. Then for another 12 hours he will sleep, and he wakes up, and again he will do creation. Every morning he wakes up and he does creation. All the living entities will come and he will assign who will be demigods, who will be animal, this and everything. He will do that. So like this, he has 7 days in his 1 week, he has 30 days in his 1 month, he has 12 months in 1 year, and he will live for 100 years. At the end of his 100 years, there is total annihilation. Total annihilation means, once again, everything enters into, now all the higher planets also, they're all, disintegrated, and they go back into their seed form. Even mind, intelligence, false ego, everything is, everything enters into Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. It's reverse of creation. Once again, everything enters into Karanodakashaya Vishnu. The whole, the modes are also in equilibrium now, like that. So once again, it's just no creation. That happens after total annihilation. And this whole time period of 100 years of Brahmaji is just one blink of Karanodakashaya Vishnu. So when he opens his eyes, Brahmaji is born. And when he closes his eyes, Brahmaji is dead. Or you can also say his one breath, right? When he inhales, when he exhales, the universe, the whole creation, consisting of these unlimited number of universes, the whole creation is manifested. And then when he inhales, 100 years of Brahmaji is over and all the universes enter back into his body. That's the lifespan of one universe. This, whatever we calculated, one breath. And he's breathing continuously like that. So when he exhales, again there is creation. And he inhales again. And this Karanodakashaya Vishnu, who's so great, is a portion of the portion of the portion of Lord Krishna.
Difficult to imagine, Mataji.
Absolutely. Okay, let's continue. All right. So next, Arunita. So you'll start. Ekada. Okay, so 1 second. Where were we? Did we start about Prishadra? Prishadra. I want to just check. So Sukadev Goswami said, thereafter, when his son Sudyumna had thus gone to the forest to accept the order of Vanaprastha, Vaivasvata Manu, Shraddha, being desirous of getting more sons, performed severe austerities on the bank of the Yamuna for 100 years. Then, because of this desire for sons, the Manu known as Shraddha worshipped the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, the Lord of the demigods. Thus he got 10 sons exactly like himself. Among them all, Ikshvaku was the eldest. Among these sons, Prishadra, following the order of his spiritual master, was engaged as a protector of cows. He would stand all night with a sword to give the cows protection. Okay, so that's where we ended yesterday. And then we also saw how some Kshatriyas, they don't, they take a vow to just protect the cows all their lives, right? So they don't have a dynasty after them. They just take this as their duty. At night there, so Prishadra took this vow on the order of his spiritual master to protect the cows at night so that some wild animals or in any other way the cows are not harmed. So yesterday in the purport we saw how cow protection is so important according to the Vedic system. So now what happened one day? Ekada pravishad Shardulo Nishivarshati Shayana Uttaya Gitasta Babhramurvraje. Yes, Arunita.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Once at night, while it was raining, a tiger entered the land of the cowshed. Upon seeing the tiger, all the cows who were lying down got up in fear and scattered here and there on the land.
So like this, Prishadra was guarding the cows, protecting the cows. One night, a tiger entered the cowshed. And as soon as the tiger entered, the cows were scared and they started running here and there. Ekam jagraha balavan sa chukrosha bhayatara तस्यास्तु क्रन्दितं श्रुत्वा वृषध्रो नुससारः खड्गम् आदाय तरसा प्रलीनोडु गणे निशि अजानन् अच्छिनोद्बभ्रो शिरः शार्दूल शङ्कया इन्बा इनिया जय श्री माताजी जय गणेश प्रभु
Yes, Mataji. When the very strong tiger sees the cow scream in distress and fear. And Prisadra, hearing the screaming, immediately followed the sound. He took up his sword, but because the stars were covered by clouds, he mistook the cow for the tiger and mistakenly cut off the cow's head with great force.
Yeah. So what happened was when the tiger came, the tiger captured one cow. He seized one cow. And when the cow was in this way grabbed by the tiger, the cow screamed in distress and in fear. Hearing the scream of the cow, Rishadra immediately followed that sound. But remember, it was night, it was all dark. He followed the sound of the cow and he took his sword and thinking that it was the tiger, with great force he cut off the neck of the head of, he was thinking he's cutting off the head of the tiger to release the cow, but accidentally he happened to cut off the head of the cow unknowingly. Why would he do it knowingly? He is there, he gave up his whole life, he dedicated his life to protecting cows. So, but no mistake, right? Mistake happened. व्याघ्रोऽपि वृक्णश्रवणो निस्त्रिंशाग्राहतस्ततः निश्चक्राम भृशं भीतो रक्तं पथि समुत्सृजन्. Inia.
Because the tiger's ear had been cut by the edge of the sword, the tiger was very afraid and it fled from that place while bleeding on the street.
So the cow's head was cut off, but because the tiger was holding the cow, right? They were close together. So although the cow's head was cut off, the edge of the sword cut the ear of the tiger. And because of the ear getting cut, the tiger got scared and started fleeing, running away from there. And it was bleeding on the street. The tiger's ear was bleeding. Manyamano hatam vyaghram rishadraha paravirah adrakshit swahatam babhrum vyushtayam nishidukhitaha. Jai Shri Mataji or Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Mataji.
They're not there. Okay.
Mataji, she's here.
Mataji's here. Okay.
Yeah. In the morning, when
Rishadra.
Prashadra was quite was quite able to subdue his enemy, saw that he had killed the cow, although at night he thought he had killed the tiger. He was very unhappy.
So it was night, he could not even understand. At night when he killed, he thought he killed the tiger and he was actually happy. Oh, finally I saved the cows. But when it was morning, he saw it was not the tiger that he killed, but it was a cow. When he saw that, he became very unhappy. And Prishadra was a very powerful king. He was quite able to subdue his enemy. But by mistake, he happened to kill a cow, taking it to be the tiger. So he became very unhappy when he saw this in the morning. Tam shashapakulacharyah kritagasam akamatah nakshatra bandhu shudrastvam karmana bhavitamuna. Jai Ganesh Prabhu.
Mataji, he's not here.
He's not here. Okay. Madhava, Isha, Krishna, Shish, Madhava, Rasapriya, whoever is here. Translation. Translation.
Although Prithviraj had committed the sin unknowingly, his family priest, Vasishtha, cursed him, saying, "In your next life, you shall not be able to become a Kshatriya. Instead, you shall take part in the Sudra because of killing the cow."
So Go Hatya is a great sin. Right? Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha.
Krishna is the well-wisher. Of course, he's Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He's everyone's well-wisher. But especially, he is the lover of the cows and the brahmanas. He's the protector of the cows and the brahmanas. Go brahmana hitayacha. So therefore, killing of brahmanas is a very grave sin, Brahma Hatya. When you kill a Brahmana, you become a Brahma Rakshasa, Brahma Hatya. You become a ghost or, like that. And that means it's a very severe punishment you'll get. Similarly for killing cows also. It's a very grave sin. Although it was done unknowingly, still the Guru, Vashishta Muni, cursed Prishadra for killing a cow. Let's see what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport. And what was the curse? That in your next life you won't become a Kshatriya. You'll be a Shudra. So Kshatriya, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya are considered the upper classes. They are called Dvija. Whereas Shudras are the low class. So in your next life, you will not be a Kshatriya, but you'll be a Shudra. Purport. Who's next? Krishnashish, you're there?
It appears that Vasishtha was not free from Tamaguna, the mode of ignorance. As the family priest or spiritual master of Krishadra, Vasishtha should have taken Krishadra's offense very lightly. But instead, Vasishtha cursed him to become a Shudra. It is the duty of a family priest not to curse a disciple, but to give him relief through the performance of some sort of atonement. Vasishtha, however, did just the opposite. Therefore, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that he was Durmati. In other words, his intelligence was not very good.
Wow. So this is how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is commenting on this verse. Vashishta's cursing Prishadra to become a Shudra in his next life. Because Vashishta Muni's position is he's the family priest, right? He's the family priest. So the family priest's duty is like when you go to a doctor, the doctor, even if you have the most terrible disease, he will try to give you some medicine to treat that, to relieve you from that pain. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Vashishta Muni, as a family priest, should have found a way to relieve. Anyway, the reaction would come, isn't it? For killing the cow by nature's course, by nature's laws, Prishadra would get some reaction. So, as a guru, as a family priest, his responsibility should have been to find a way to atone for that sin so that his disciple would not suffer. But instead of that, Vashishta Muni cursed him that you go and become a Shudra in your next life. So there it is commented by the Acharya that Vashishta Muni is not free from the mode of ignorance. Of course, as a sage, he is in the mode of goodness, yes, but in this material world, no mode is completely pure. It's always mixed, right? One is not purely in any one mode. Sometimes one mode is prominent and at other times it's not so prominent. It is mixed with all three modes are mixed with different proportions at different times. So here it is said that Vashishta Muni, even though such a great sage, he was the guru, still he was not free from the mode of ignorance. Why? Because when the disciple and also the offense was done unknowingly, still and he had dedicated his life for the protection of the cows, but mistakenly in the night, accidentally it happened. Instead of finding a remedy for that, he cursed Prishadra. This was not correct. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying this is Durmati. Mati means what? Your intelligence. Durmati means bad intelligence. You didn't have very good intelligence. That's how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this. Okay. Next. So the point is Vashishta Muni cursed Prishadra to become Ashudra. Evam saptastu guruna pratyagrihnat kritanjalihi adharayad vratam veera urdhvareta muni priyam. Madhava read, Krishna Shish read. Others are here, Rasapriya? Okay, translation.
But the hero
Prishadra.
was cursed by his spiritual master. He accepted the curse with folded hands. Then, having controlled his senses, he took the vow of Brahmacharya, which is approved by all great sages.
So when Prishadra was thus cursed, what did he do? Did he get angry? Why are you cursing me? What was my fault? I didn't do it knowingly. No. He folded his hands and he accepted the curse. And to prepare for that, accepting that curse, he actually took to the vow of brahmacharya, right? So paschatapa, right? So paschatapa means mistakes happen because we have these material bodies and material senses. The senses are prone to mistakes, illusion, mistakes, and imperfection. This is there in the senses itself. So to make a mistake is not anything astonishing in the human body. To err is human. Yes, to make mistakes is natural for human beings. But after making a mistake, we should repent for that and we should atone for that. Then he is a human being. So Prishadra, when he was cursed by his guru, what did he do? He accepted the curse and he took to the vow of celibacy. So it is said that this taking of vow of brahmacharya is approved by all great sages. वासुदेवे भगवति सर्वात्मनि परे मले एकान्तित्वं गतो भक्त्या सर्वभूतसुहृत्समः विमुक्तसङ्गः शान्तात्मा संयताक्षो परिग्रहः यदृच्छयोपपन्नेन कल्पयन् वृत्तिमात्मनः आत्मन्यात्मानम् आधाय ज्ञानतृप्तः समाहितः विचचार महिम् एतां जडान्धा बधिराकृतिः. Kalpesh Prabhu is there or Sonia Mataji?
Translation. Thereafter, Rishadra gained relief from all responsibilities, became peaceful in mind, and established control over all his senses. Being unaffected by material conditions, being pleased with whatever was available by the grace of Lord to maintain the body and soul together, and being equal towards everyone, he gave full attention to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, who is the transcendental super soul, free from material contamination. Thus, Prishadra, fully satisfied in pure knowledge, always keeping his mind on Supreme Personality of Godhead, achieved pure devotional service to Lord and began traveling all over the world without affection for material activities, as if he were deaf, dumb, and blind.
Yes, Hare Krishna. So first of all, Prishadra took a vow of brahmacharya. And then what are we seeing here? He gained relief from all responsibilities, right? That means he gave up his karma, became peaceful in mind, established control over all his senses. This is yama niyama, right? Being unaffected by material conditions, being pleased with whatever was available by the grace of the Lord to maintain body and soul together, being equal toward everyone. What are all these? These are all jnana sadhanas. Sadhanas means these are the practices of the, well, even Ashtanga Yoga. Yeah, these are the practices of Ashtanga Yoga also. So being pleased with whatever was available by the grace of the Lord to maintain body and soul together, being equal toward everyone, he gave full attention to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. So Ashtanga Yoga can be followed by one. It depends on what your goal is. If you're following Ashtanga Yoga for the purpose of merging into Brahma, that's also possible. Or one can adopt the process of Ashtanga Yoga to reach Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is also possible. Or to reach Paramatma, that is also possible. So if you're following Ashtanga Yoga, you can either your aim can be Paramatma, your aim can be Brahman, merging into Brahman, or you can even aspire for pure devotional service. Why? Because in Ashtanga Yoga, the process is meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So, and in Bhakti also, there is that Smaranam is there. That's the common thing in both. So, even through Ashtanga Yoga, you can actually approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so that is there. So, here it is said that he adopted this Ashtanga Yoga process, being unaffected by material conditions, being pleased with whatever was available by the grace of the Lord to maintain body and soul together, and being equal toward everyone. He gave full attention to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, Bhagavan, right? Vasudev. He's meditating on Vasudev, who is the transcendental super self, right? Free from material contamination. Thus, Prishadra, fully satisfied in pure knowledge, always keeping his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, achieved pure devotional service to the Lord. So he actually got bhakti, pure bhakti, by this process, and began traveling all over the world without affection for material activities, as if he were deaf, dumb, and blind. So this is like, in the Paramahamsa stage, uh, like we see Rishabdev, right? And even Vidura towards the end. They just become completely, right, nivritta, right? They're released completely from this material world. And even they become uh, unaffected, uninterested, right? So people used to spit on Rishabdev, they used to pass urine on him, he didn't care. Nothing affects them. And then they just travel, wander like this, deaf, dumb, and blind, because they're completely absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The material conditions don't affect them. Achintadev Prabhu. Oh, did you raise your hand now, or is it from before? Achintadev Prabhu? Maybe it's from before. Okay. So this is what happened. So Prishadra actually came to this elevated stage of being, completely unaffected by material conditions, material activities. So one more point here is different acharyas can explain a particular verse in a different way, and that is totally fine. Because one acharya says that Prishadra became a pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada's purport. So Srila Prabhupada is following the commentary of one particular acharya. And another acharya will say that he just followed the path of Ashtanga Yoga. He didn't actually become a pure devotee, like that. So it is possible that different acharyas can give different explanations, and they are both correct. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. But when you follow one acharya's commentary, you cannot just take one verse. You have to follow throughout the same acharya's commentary. Then the Vaishnava conclusions will not be uh, disturbed. They will be still retained. That's the thing. I'm saying this because sometimes you may find that what is said in the purport is different than what is said by some acharya. That is totally fine. That's the point. Next. Evam vritto vanam gatva drishtva davagnimutthitam tenopayukta karano brahma prapa param munihi. So this word brahma prapa is important here. That's why. Okay. Brahma prapa param munihi. Let's continue. So after Rasapriya, or Sonia Mataji also read. So next is Neelambari Mataji. Actually, Lokesh, sorry. Lokesh. Yes, Hare Krishna. With this attitude,
Prashadram became a great saint, and when he entered the forest and saw a blazing forest fire, he took the opportunity to burn his body in the fire. Thus he achieved the transcendental spiritual world.
so yeah, so one Acharya comments here like this, the way Srila Prabhupada has said, that he actually went to the transcendental spiritual world, because already it was said he became a pure devotee. And then when there was a forest fire, he was just wandering. And when there was a forest fire, what happened? He took advantage of the forest fire and he burned his body, right? And then he just went back to Godhead. But another Acharya comments on this Brahma Prapa. Brahma Prapa means to go and merge into Brahman, because he followed that yoga process and ultimately he went and merged into Brahman. But both are possible. Either way you can take it. Okay. So translation is, with this attitude, Prishadra became a great saint, and when he entered the forest and saw a blazing forest fire, he took this opportunity to burn his body in the fire. Thus he achieved the transcendental spiritual world. So that was, okay, purport. After Lokesh, Mataji, Prabhuji are there. Lokesh? Lokesh, Mataji and Prabhuji are there?
No, Mataji.
Okay. So then next is Neelambari Mataji. You are able to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare
Purport?
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Purport. Okay. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma chametipyam evam yo veti tattvataha svaktadiham punarjanma naiti mam eti. So Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
Prishadra.
Okay. Prashadra, because of his karma, was cursed to take his next birth as a Shudra. But because he took to saintly life, specifically concentrating in his mind always upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he became a pure devotee. Immediately after giving up his body in the fire, he reached the spiritual world, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Mamati. Uh, as a result of his devotional devotional service performed by thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so powerful that although Prashadra was cursed, he avoided the terrible consequence of becoming a Shudra and instead returned home back to Godhead. As stated in Brahma Samhita 5.4, Yash, Yastva Indra.
I'll recite Mataji.
Yeah.
Yastvindra Gopa Matavindra Maho Swakarma Bandhanurupa Phalabhajana Noti Karmani Nirdahati Kintu Cha Bhakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Thank you, Mataji.
Actually,
I'm playing with my the size of the letters.
Yes.
Those who engage in devotional service are unaffected by the result of their material activities. Otherwise, everyone from the smallest microbe up to the king of heaven, Indra, is subject to the laws of karma. A pure devotee, being always engaged in the service of the Lord, is exempt from these laws. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is important. Pure devotee. Being always engaged. Pure devotee, what is the qualification? Is always engaged in the service of the Lord. Then he's exempt from the laws. What are the laws? You got cursed that, taking birth again and again. That is because the result of karma. Taking birth in this world is the result of karma. So next life you got a curse that in the next life you have to take birth as a Shudra. But if you become a pure devotee, no curse will act. You're relieved from all that. Those who engage in devotional service are unaffected by the results of their material activities. Doesn't Krishna say, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. I will deliver you from all sins, but you have to surrender to Krishna. Surrender to Krishna means 24/7 you are completely absorbed in Krishna, doing devotional service to Krishna, either through Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, like that. 24/7 you are engaged in one of these. Then you are a pure devotee because you have surrendered to the Lord. And if you are like that, then don't worry about any curses or anything. You are transcendental to all that. But if you are not able to engage like this, otherwise, everyone from the smallest virus up to the king of heaven or even Brahmaji, they are all subject to the laws of karma. That's the point. So Prishadra in this case, he went back to Godhead. That's what is said, right? He went back to Godhead. According to, I think this is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. And according to Srila Jiva Goswami, he actually, either way, he got liberated, right? So he Brahma Prapa means he entered into Brahman, he merged into Brahman. But here specifically we are talking Srila Prabhupada's purport. Srila Prabhupada is saying that he went back to Godhead. What is the result? Because of his devotional service, because of his complete absorption in Krishna, he actually went back to Godhead. Okay, so we will stop here. Tomorrow we will begin with Narsimha Leela Chaitanya Prabhu's family. They will begin. Okay, and then we'll continue from there, everyone else. Let's read Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18, text 62. Please repeat. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata
सर्वभावेन भारत
tatprasadat param shantim
तत्पश्चात्
sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam.
ज्ञानं प्राप्स्यसि
O Scion of Bharata,
O son of
surrender unto him utterly.
surrender unto him
By
utterly.
his grace you will attain transcendental peace
By his grace you will attain
and
transcendence
the supreme and eternal abode.
and the supreme
Krishna is saying surrender unto him, right? Later on Krishna says Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Soon he will say that, 65 it's coming. But before that, here Krishna is saying, O Scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme, transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. So what is the context here? What did Krishna say in the previous verse? Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. That's what we read yesterday. So the Lord is present as Paramatma in the heart of every living entity, guiding the wanderings. So this is the Paramatma. This is Paramatma. So we already discussed what is the role of Paramatma. You remember, Paramatma's role is based on your past desires, based on your past karma. But I don't remember my karma. I don't even remember my desires because of birth, the experiences of death and birth. It is so traumatic. I forget everything. I don't remember. But Paramatma is there. He remembers everything, what you wanted, and who is your enemy, how you wanted to take revenge, or whom you loved. All these things he remembers. So he will tell you now. And also based on your karma, whatever you are deserving based on karma, he will facilitate that to you. This is Paramatma. So he is guiding the wanderings of the living entity. That's what we saw yesterday. And now Krishna is saying you surrender to that Lord, that Paramatma in the heart. If you surrender to Paramatma, then so actually it's interesting, another point here. In this 18th chapter, Krishna is telling about, first we read about Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasochati Nakangshati, right? There we are talking about Brahman realization. And what are the symptoms of a Brahman realized person? Now we are talking about Paramatma. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddesh Arjuna Tishtati is Paramatma. And then soon after this, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Surrender unto me, Bhagavan. So he's talking about all three here. That's also a point to be noted. So here, Paramatma, Krishna is saying, so that's why you may wonder why Krishna is saying surrender to him, why he's not saying surrender to me, because here the context is Paramatma. O son of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Purport. A living entity should therefore surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now again, when you read the purport, Srila Prabhupada brings us right to the point. What is applicable to you now, today, right? So that's the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's purport. He's giving us the final result without going through the various steps in between. So that's why when Srila Prabhupada writes the purport, he says, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So a living entity should therefore surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, and that will relieve him from all kinds of miseries of this material existence. Another point, the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is situated in everyone's heart means when you are a devotee, then he's the same person. It's not different people. It's not that Paramatma is a different person and Krishna is a different person. The same person acting as Paramatma to you, because of your level of advancement, you see him as Paramatma. And then Paramatma has a different function. He doesn't function like Bhagavan. But when you approach him with bhakti as a devotee, now his function towards you is like Bhagavan, the Lord. But if you're a non-devotee, he's still there. But he's there as Paramatma, still, facilitating you for your things, whatever you need. So, but also it's achintya. He is different and he's also not different. How it is possible? It's achintya. We cannot find out because he's, that is his position, and with our, material intelligence, we cannot understand. Okay. But it can be understood when the Lord reveals himself, right? When he reveals himself, then his achintya position can be understood. And when will he reveal himself? He will reveal himself when we do pure devotional service. Ananya Bhakti, 24/7. We surrender to him. Then he will reveal himself. And then we can understand his achintya position. So what is the achintya position here we are talking about? That the Paramatma in the heart can be Bhagavan for the devotees, but also he is Paramatma, and he is the same person and also he is a different person. Like that. A living entity should therefore surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, and that will relieve him from all kinds of miseries of this material existence. So if you surrender to the Lord, whether as Brahman or as Paramatma or Bhagavan, you surrender to the Lord in the heart. Here it is said to the Lord in the heart. You surrender to him, then you will be free from all material miseries. By such surrender, not only will one be released from all miseries in this life, but at the end he will reach the Supreme God. So if you're approaching Paramatma, you can go to Paramatma. You can go to Karanodakashaya Vishnu, right? Or Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, like that. So, or Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. So when you surrender to the Lord in the heart, then you will become free from all miseries in this life, and also in the end you will reach the Supreme God. The transcendental Lord, the transcendental world is described in the Vedic literature, Rig Veda 1:22-20, as Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Since all of creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual. But Paramam Padam specifically refers to the eternal abode, which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto, right? The Lord is seated in everyone's heart. So this recommendation that one should surrender unto the super soul sitting within means that one should surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna has already been accepted by Arjuna as the Supreme. He was accepted in the 10th chapter as Param Brahma, Param Dhama. Arjuna has accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Abode of all living entities, not only because of his personal experience, but also because of the evidence of great authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa. So, what Krishna is going to speak after a couple of verses, right? Srila Prabhupada is telling us now itself. Surrender to Paramatma means surrender to Krishna, Bhagavan. Although there are procedures, various procedures are followed. There, now we are reciting Brahma's prayers from the 14th chapter. There, Lord Brahma says that this is the best path, devotional service to Krishna, Bhagavan, that's the best path. If anyone gives up this path and if he tries to follow Jnana and other paths, trying to reach either, Paramatma or Brahman, then actually, they're not very intelligent, right? If you give up bhakti, then it's a very difficult process. And actually, if you don't do bhakti at all, you don't even get the results of your jnana, because it's like beating empty husk. Can you get any grain by beating empty husk? You don't get. So simply trying with jnana to realize the Supreme without any bhakti, it's like beating empty husk. You will never get grain. Similarly, if you do only jnana, you will never get self-realization. It must be accompanied by some bhakti. Then what to speak of if you do only bhakti? That's the recommended path. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada in the purport is saying, surrendering to Paramatma means surrendering to Krishna. Why? Because Arjun himself has accepted this is 18th chapter, earlier, right, in the 10th chapter, Arjun accepted Krishna as the supreme, the topmost. Matta parataram nanyat, Krishna said. So Arjun accepted that. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, he is Param Brahma. There is Brahma and then there is Param Brahma, the supreme Brahma, that is Krishna. There's no one above him. How Arjun said this? By his personal experience, what he has experienced himself, but also what has been experienced by the other authorities. Asita, Devala, Narada, Vyasa, they have all experienced this. So on their authority also and his personal experience, Arjun accepted Krishna as Param Brahma. So therefore here when Krishna says surrender to him, to Paramatma, we should understand surrender to Krishna. Okay, next. Now we'll read Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Okay, this is tomorrow's verse. Bookmark it. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Continuation. Bhaktivedanta Swami made his rounds. So Srila Prabhupada came back to Vrindavan, Radha Damodar temple to write the third volume of the first canto. And in the third volume, we find about Parikshit Maharaj punishing Kali. So Srila Prabhupada takes this opportunity to describe the situation of Kali Yuga. Bhaktivedanta Swami made his rounds of the institutions and booksellers in Bombay. And to publish the third volume, Srila Prabhupada went to Bombay, right? And somebody, I don't know who it is, somebody gave him a place, Dalmia family, to stay in his house, right? For 15 days, Srila Prabhupada stayed. Bhaktivedanta Swami made his rounds of the institutions and booksellers in Bombay. He now had an advertisement showing himself with Prime Minister Shastri, and he also had the Prime Minister's letter and the Ministry of Education's purchase order for 50 volumes. Still, he was getting only small orders. Then he decided to visit Sumati Morarji, head of the Scindia Steamship Company. He had heard from his godbrothers in Bombay that she was known for helping sadhus and had donated to the Bombay Gaudiya Mutt. He had never met her, but he well remembered the 1958 promise by one of her officers to arrange half-fare passage for him to America. So one of the officers of Sumati Morarji had promised Srila Prabhupada back in 1958 to pay for half of the ticket, right? Half of the fare for passage to America. Now he wanted for help for printing Srimad Bhagavatam. But his first attempts to arrange a meeting were unsuccessful. Frustrated at being put off by Mrs. Morarji's officers, he sat down on the front steps of her office building, determined to catch her attention as she left for the day. The lone sadhu certainly caused some attention as he sat quietly chanting for 5 hours on the steps of the Scindia Steamship Company building. Finally, late that afternoon, Mrs. Morarji emerged in a flurry of business talk with her secretary, Mr. Chokshi. Upon seeing Bhaktivedanta Swami, she stopped. "Who is this gentleman sitting here?" she asked Mr. Chokshi. He's been here for 5 hours, the secretary said. All right, I'll come, she said, and walked up to where Bhaktivedanta Swami was sitting. He smiled and stood, offering namaskaras with his folded palms. Swamiji, what can I do for you? She said. Bhaktivedanta Swami told her briefly of his intentions to print the 3rd volume of his Srimad Bhagavatam. I want you to help me, he said. All right, Mrs. Morarji replied. We can meet tomorrow because it is getting late. Tomorrow you can come and we will discuss. The next day, Bhaktivedanta Swami met with Mrs. Morarji in her office, where she looked at the typed manuscript and the published volumes. All right, she said. If you want to print it, I will give you the aid. Whatever you want, you can get it printed. With Mrs. Morarji's guarantee, Bhaktivedanta Swami was free to return to Vrindavan to finish writing the manuscript. As with the previous volumes, he set a demanding schedule for writing and publishing. The 3rd volume would complete the 1st canto. Then, with a supply of impressive literature, he would be ready to go to the West. Even with volumes 1 and 2, he was getting a better reception in India. Already he had seen the Vice President and Prime Minister. He had successfully approached a big business magnate of Bombay, and within a few minutes of presenting the book, he had received a large donation. The books were powerful preaching. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much, dear devotees. We will end today's session here. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.